Hey, I want to continue our conversation. So we were talking about some things that drove me and the difference between being driven and being motivated. So motivation is something that kind of is like a carrot stick, right? And it's in front of you and you're trying to reach it. It could be, bonuses. It could be rewards of some kind. But to be driven in your life, to drive yourself. Of course, I'm driving right now. But to be driven in life means that there is an underlying characteristic that is ingrained in you and that you're going to do it and no one's going to stop you. And that was my ambition right out of high school, is I really wanted to succeed. And my drive at that time was I had a son. I wanted to give him everything I could possibly give him, and I wanted to teach him everything I can give him. So every chance I could, I read technical books, and I applied myself, and I took every course that I could. General education I think is wonderful, and it does something for you, and you get there. And for a lot of people today, you have to have your degree. You really do, to get in the door. For me, here in Silicon Valley, in the 80s, I didn't have to. I worked for Intel, I worked for Apple, I worked for manufacturing companies here as an assembler or lead assembler or mechanical assembler. So it got me in the door of knowing how systems are built, how they're assembled, how to repair them or taking them apart. I learned all that early, and it was almost like training, on-site training for me, and it helped me kind of elevate myself to opportunities here in Silicon Valley, because there were so many businesses looking for people that if you spoke English and you knew anything about computers, you were in. And they were recruiting people left and right, and you didn't have to know much other than, do you know how to turn on and turn off a computer? Can you type? And that's what it was back then in the 80s. That 80s, 90s, that's what it was like. So I had opportunity. I spoke to people that I picked up, and I talked to them about things, and they said, being in different countries, you have to have your degree. And in some cases, you have to have your master's, because they can't get through the front door without their master's degree. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. Okay, I guess, yeah, that makes sense, because the time that I put in, all the companies I've been in, I would probably have a master's degree in the work that I've done. But I didn't. I applied myself, and I learned to communicate. So that said, I know people that have graduated, and it's been very hard for them to graduate from college, and they've done it. And they told me, Mike, why have you moved from so many companies? Why don't you stay with Applied, or why don't you stay with Cisco, or why don't you stay with Hitachi, or why don't you stay with these companies? And I said, because when a project's completed, the satisfaction for me as a tech was completing that project successfully, learning what I could from the implementation, and moving on to the next company and doing it for them. And people always paid me a little bit more every time I moved on. They gave me more money, and to me, that was my way of saying, hey, listen, I don't have a degree, but I have experience, and I can do that for your company. So I had to look at things a little bit differently than the norm. People that actually went to school, and they thought, hey, school's for me. And a lot of people that came in, and they were educated, and they knew how to communicate, and they had great writing skills, they didn't have real world experience, and I did. So I had to teach people that came in at degrees that got paid more than me, to teach them how to run systems, how to build them, how to disassemble them, how to implement disaster recovery, backup, and restore, and how to run the software. And so I had to change a little bit, and other people I saw move up from me, and I kind of stayed stagnant for a while until I started being a manager and director. And in Silicon Valley, I was able to be a VP of a company for about a year, named Zero.com, and build that company, and hire all full-time employees, and go through the .com debacle at that time. And I had a lot of stock, and I got nothing for it during that time. So to me, it was kind of a waste. I didn't really put money into it, but I learned a lot from it. I learned from being a VP, how does corporate America executives, how do they make money? And how do they get accounts, and how do they establish relationships with their corporations? And so I learned the back end of it. I learned what executives do, and how they run a company, and how they treat their employees was not me. They were considered our employees in numbers, and I was like, no, I actually hired them myself. I recruited a lot of people from Applied Materials. I recruited them from many other areas and brought them in to apply to Name Zero, because Applied and a lot of companies, they were killing their employees with overwork and underpay. And so I recruited those guys that I work with, said, hey, listen, I can get you in at this amount in a startup, and we can build this company from scratch. And so it worked out really well until the .com burst, and a lot of people lost their funding, and we were one of those companies that lost our funding. So we had to kind of merge and learn what to do new, what was the new technology, and get into that. And I grew from that. I grew from there, and I stayed in project management, and I stayed in operations, and I learned how to train and teach, and I had to go back from executive management down to realizing I just want to be a lead tech. Lead techs don't lose their jobs. Managers do. You're considered fluff. Directors do, because when they have a 3% decrease in, 13% decrease in employment, they cut you. They don't need a director when you had 14 people. Now you have 5. They don't need a director. So I learned that as well. I learned, you know what? I need to stay on top of my technology. I need to stay on top of the new technology coming in. I had to reinvent myself in ways and learn what people are doing today. And so I learned that. And it kept me moving, it kept me working, and it kept me in the know, what people are doing today. And today, it's all software driven, and it's all hardware. Yeah, you can get a hardware job, but the truth is, hardware lasts forever. It really does. It's only upgrades and maintenance that you have to deal with, and data centers. But now it's all software driven. So a lot of companies, they want to know, do you know SDLCs, standard development life cycles? And yeah, of course I know them. I was trained by Applied Materials, and I took every course that I could while I was there. And I learned that aspect of it while I was there. While they were giving me free training, I took every class, but I never completed my bachelor's degree, and I always wanted to. Even to this day, I want to go back and take some courses and complete that. I probably need about 25 credits to finish my degree, and I just haven't taken the time. So I think, I don't know if I will, because I'm not pushing myself in that direction. I'm really pushing myself in working with groups and people and motivating teams, especially startups. I want to be able to help startups and teach customer service, because customer service sucks. I go to a lot of companies, I go to restaurants, I go to places where they deal with the public, and they hire kids that have no idea how to give good customer service. And I always want to train them and teach them how to be excited about their job. And whatever you come from home, whatever you bring, whatever baggage you bring, don't bring it to work. You come with a new face. You put a new face on when you're there, because you're representing the company and the corporation. So I want to teach that to the new youth today, because they're moving very fast, but they don't know social skills. They know app, they know likes, they know social media, but they don't not know how to communicate with their girlfriends, with their friends. To them, it's 2 or 3 emojis, and that's it. There's not, hey, how are you doing? What'd you do today? How are things? Oh, really? I didn't hear about that. It's not. It's whatever is in social media, and they're losing a lot in experience, in learning how to communicate. And when they get to those hard companies are going to be tough for them, because when they go up against senior people that know how to communicate and know how to deal with situations, they will not know how to deal with the stress. And so they have to learn that from some scratch, or in some way. So I'm actually building some programs to help kids today. What do you do after high school? What do you do after college? How do you keep your goals situated where you're actually reaching them? I'm sorry about the camera, and I don't really care about the camera. I don't even want to see my face, but what I want to know is that you can hear me, and my voice carries really a long way. So as long as you can hear me and you're hearing what I'm trying to say, that's all that matters to me. So I don't really care if you guys say, oh, the camera doesn't look good, Mike, and why don't you have this better, and why didn't you set the... I don't care about that. I care about the content. And everything I do in life, I care about content. I care about what is the person receiving, and were the words right, and did they understand the examples in my life. So I am really moving towards, every day I'm creating a video blog for my family and for my grandchildren, and for those of you that want to listen and learn. I know a lot of you watch these videos and you don't give a shit, and I don't care. It's fine with me. I'm not there for the ones that don't care. I'm there for the ones that care and need help, assistance in their life. So if you need help, or you have a family member that's going through something, call me and schedule some time with me. Tell me, hey, listen, I don't have a lot of money, but you know what? I need some of your time. And if you could talk to my daughter, my son, my husband, my wife, anyone that you can refer a family member and send them to my way, I'll pick them up. I'm a Lyft driver. I'll go pick them up. I'll take them for a wonderful drive. You pay for the hour that I'm with them, and I'll give them some great advice about life and what to do next. If they're confused or they're not sure of themselves or they're lacking some type of motivation, let me motivate them. That's one thing I do well. Let me find out what they need. And if you have a family member that's in pain in some way, contact me and schedule some time. I'll come to your house. I'll work on them there with I have a mobile massage table, so I can work with them and figure out what's really ailing them. Because a lot of times, like I said before, people manifest these pains in their body, but they're really from emotional pain. So when we find out what the emotional pain is and what's really hurting them, we can relieve that and really support what they really need to move forward. So for right now, I think this is a great start of communicating with family and team and people out there listening. And I'll give you some more advice and some more information, if you will, tomorrow. But today I'm going to go home and see my granddaughter and see my son and my wife, and it's going to be a great day. So listen, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the time. Enjoy your day today. Look forward to Monday. We don't do that. Look forward to Monday, because Monday brings a new day and new people and a new breath of life. God bless you and take care, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye now.